Dirk van Duijvenbode, who has come through a good field of opponents to book his place in this final, particularly the last 4 matches. Chris Dobie, Peter Wright, Luke Humphries, Adrian Lewis. Before that, he'd seen off Connor Scott and Richie Edhouse, and has been taking out
60.
Big 3-figure combination finishers like they are going out of fashion, including a 170 in the last leg against Peter Wright.
If he's going to continue to do that,
180,
and that, Clemens has got a lot on his plate. But here is the worrying thing for Clemens. He went from averaging constantly over 100 going into that semi-final. That dipped, and he only just got through. He had to dodge a match start from Nathan Aspinall in the end. But he hit 23 maximums going into that semi-final and only got 2 in the last 4 match. He must find those maximums again.
Yeah, he does, particularly against Van Duijvenbode, who has been the biggest maximum
96
hitter on tour over the last 12 months or so. He wants double 16 for a flying start. That's an 11 darter.
And this is a mental hurdle for Clemens. We've seen it with other players. Chisnell in major finals, Terry Jenkins in major finals.
45.
This isn't a major final. But the fact of the matter is, no matter what the level, if you constantly fail to get the trophy at the end, you need to keep knocking on that door, but it gets harder every time you miss.
It's actually his 4th final here in Barnsley.
140.
Beaten here last year by Callan Ridds, beaten here in 2019 by both Johnny Clayton and Gerwyn Price. His other floor final was in Milton Keynes as a disturbance happens again. I'm not entirely sure what's happening here. There's some kind of conversation going on. I've got no idea who that is. A security guard has come down to get rid of him. So it seems like there's a door behind that ladder, and somebody at the venue is kind of not being informed he can't use it. I mean, you see some bizarre things, Paul. I don't think I've ever seen that before. A door just appearing onto the stage where the players are playing.
I was in the supermarket this morning, Murph, and somebody was asking me what's going on at the Metrodome, and this was just someone in the public. Anybody who works in this venue should know that this is world-level darts taking place. So if you're near this venue, you've got to be quiet. You've got to know what's going on.
Well, Dirk's kind of seeing the funny side, but I'm not sure he's laughing inside. He did have a bit of this in his semi-final. It was actually a different issue. It's a very bizarre end to the day. But as Dan and I were saying in that semi as well, what can happen is everything is noticed because there are only 2 players left in the arena, handful of officials. So even in the noise of a first round, someone could walk through that door and nobody notices, and maybe it could have been happening earlier today, but maybe no one's seen or heard it.
There's only one worse time for this to happen. That's at the end of this game. If this is going to happen, it has to happen at the start. Get it rectified, and then let's get game on. Because these guys just want to play darts for a title. They do not want to be distracted.
I'll just take the moment to run you through Gabriel Clemens' run to this decider, having already done the Dirk route. And it was Adam Hunt, Gordon Mathers, Gert Nenches, Ryan Meikle, Daryl Gurney and Nathan Aspinall, who missed a couple of darts.
100.
I think these guys have shown fantastic sportsmanship over the last couple of minutes, because these disturbances in finals, I'm not sure how I would have reacted.
97.
I think there's a lot of tension when it comes to the German giant, and maybe this will take some of the pressure away. But the intensity has come back to Dirk like flipping a coin.
140.
We have had situations, it's not always on the big stages where these bizarre things happen. I know we've had situations with air conditioning vents and
95.
drafts and stages, floorboards on stages and things like that, but we have had things on Pro Tour events before. I think Stephen Bunting starts are once getting blown by some kind of craft.
134.
Gerwyn Price walked off from a streaming board in a game against Mickey Mansell because he felt that Mansell was utilising a bit of tape that was covering electrical wires to put him off.
92.
That's definitely the most bizarre one I've heard. How about Ian White with his shopping bag during an interview? That wasn't during a match. How about this?
Game shot.
How about that? Dirk van Duijvenbode apologising. I'm not really sure what for.
Yeah, the DVD had to pause, and now it's fast forward through this final, 2-0.
I think if there were two different people in this final, we might have very different results when it comes to the reactions, but
96.
there's something still going on that Clemens and Dirk can hear, then I think someone's going to get a lug full.
What could be happening, I don't know, but just having played
54.
darts at a terrible level myself, what can happen is you can start to anticipate a noise, can't you, in a quiet room, because it's happened before.
You'd much rather play darts in a room full of 10,000 people
134.
where it's a lot of white noise, instead of an arena like this where there are possibly a couple of players left in the arena supporting these guys, as well as
180.
these two players. You can hear everything, trust me, everything.
57.
Will Gabriel Clemens be able to block out the noise and
60.
walk through the door to the winner's circle, having not experienced victory in a PDC event yet? Mentioned those defeats on the floor. He also lost a World Series event final as well, didn't he, to Peter Wright?
The only one he has gotten over the line in was at Q School
43.
back in 2018, where he beat Vincent Camphouse for his tour card. That was only best of 9. Oh, Dirk. Oh, he can do whatever he wants. 2 double tops and a 3-0 lead. It's all going the way of the man from the Netherlands so far.
He's already in his 4th final of
96.
the year, having won one of them here in Barnsley against Ryan Searle to pick up his 2nd PDC title.
There is a
180.
danger in this final that Dirk has found his mojo and he's ready to get into 6th gear. He's hitting maximums.
100.
He's hitting his finishes. And we know he can sustain it.
Well, he's gone from distraction to destruction in this final.
96.
Absolutely devilish darts from Van Duijvenbode, who's averaging way up in the 110s after 3.5 legs.
75.
We've already seen from quite a few players today that that can be sustained. Gilding. Clemens had a 114 earlier in a 6-0 win over Madness.
135.
And we saw plenty of big averages yesterday from Rusty Jake Rodriguez and Steve Beaton, who had a 118.
100.
Well, that might make his mind up about which route to go here. Probably the bull at the end rather than the beginning. I think that you call that a curse. I deserve that one.
Crystal ball's broken.
65.
You got it right with the 9 darter from Dimitri earlier, and Clemens has got to get this right. Step 1. Step 2.
120.
Misses step 3.
So the remainder. And it's
Game
doubled
shot.
up again. It's absolutely incredible stuff. His finishing today has been just out of this world.
Dirk is a top 16 player, and he's projected to be number 14 in the world for the World Match Play. That could change over the next 4 days. He
100.
could get above Joe Cullen into the 13th spot, which would change his number in the match play draw bag and potentially a different second round
97.
opponent. But he knows he's going there. He's just playing to win a tournament. Clemens is now over 50,000 points in the qualifying list. He's going to Blackpool.
100.
But more than anything else, he wants this title, and he's going to have to do it the hard way, and I'm saying that in capital letters.
100.
At what point, Paul? I mean, you've been there. At what point does he start thinking, not again? Gets to the decider. Of course, he'll be happy with his day's work, but it starts to become a problem, doesn't it?
I think
53.
he's already seeing it. And internally, he's thinking just one leg at a time, inch closer, just stop him getting so many chances.
And the silly thing is, he shouldn't really be thinking that,
140.
because on this occasion, he's playing against an opponent who's averaging around that 110 mark and producing the darts of even his life in this final.
138.
I think when you've done it before and done it recently as well, it makes a massive difference.
I've said around the
43
110 mark, just shy of that, but the finish he wants is exactly 110.
Considering how he's finishing in this match, he can do whatever he wants. 60 bull if he wants it. Double 16.
78.
And that's as bad a dart as he has thrown in the last 3 matches.
Well, this really does have to go, and it will be the bull. And
96.
it hasn't gone. And I don't know about you, but I cannot see him coming back in this leg.
Not in this leg.
Game shot.
Maybe not in this match. However, we have seen in the last couple of years people getting very big starts in these finals, and they have been dragged back.
134.
But the people who have been able to bridge those gaps have been elite players, like Gerwin Price. Remember that final with Damon Heta,
134.
where Damon was perilously close, but Price, in the last 8 legs, averaged something in the region of 120. We are getting to the stage where Clemens
99.
has to do that.
Dan Dawson, Paul, was saying in the semi-final that he's surprised that Van Duijvenbode isn't spoken about more as a contender at the World
93.
Match. I just want to get your thoughts on that, because he's playing in his second final in 3 events, and it was the semi-final he played in was his third in 4 events.
58.
He's got form as good as anybody.
Going under the radar, which is not true to Dirk's style, because he's firmly on everybody's radar, but all of Dan's
96.
bias aside, because we know he loves Dirk van Duijvenbode, I think he makes a very valid point. Because when you look at the form book, Dirk
98.
is very close to the top of that.
Well, this is as good as it gets in terms of relief
56.
for Clemens in this match. Van Duijvenbode are 10 points behind him and letting him have a go to finish.
I still think he's got to hit it. So if Dirk finds 418s in bull, I don't see any
92.
way back for Gabe Clemens based on the stats and what we've seen so far.
Well, never mind that. It's 618s and
Game
double 7.
shot.
No problem at all. 1, 2, 2. And it's just actually getting very, very normal, this, isn't it?
This is what you need to do when you're in this position. What Dirk is teaching you all at home, if you are a dart player yourself, is don't slow down. You're 6-0 up. Think about 8-0. You want to win without
57.
losing a leg. That is your motivation right now, and that is definitely his.
Here's a bit of tungsten trivia. Did you know Gabriel Clemens has never won a
180.
leg against Dirk van Duijvenbode?
I did know that, because just prior to this final, I was checking the head-to-head record, and I was aghast
82.
at the fact that they'd never played each other. Considering that they've been on tour for years, they've never played at any tournament.
Yeah,
92.
it is extraordinary, isn't it? It's one of those things. Did you have a player that you used to walk past you in Pro Tours and you'd think, I see him every time, but I've never actually played him?
I'd have to think about that.
180.
I'm kind of focusing on Dirk van Duijvenbode's 180 count right now, which is 3-2. But I'd never played Rob Cross.
59.
I only really walked around the same holes as him for a couple of years, but I never got to play Rob Cross.
Go on,
I'm
180.
sure there are some others.
Won't be a 180 for
100.
the double 1 finish. The smallest finish. How about the biggest finish?
Needs it.
Can't take out the 170. And it probably will be 7-0.
20 bull. That was a bit
35.
ragged. That's a good sign for Clemens. If Dirk's going to hit the wall, Clemens has got to hit the accelerator.
37.
Well, he's got to hit a double, and he hasn't managed that yet. And Dirk will return to make it 7 straight legs in this one-sided final. That is one-sided because of his brilliance in this department.
shot.
And it's another double hit. And he's almost apologetic now about flattening the German giant.
60.
Right now, Gabe is feeling very flat indeed. But that motivation for Dirk to win to nil, it still remains. Just look at his face. The
45.
intensity. He does not want to slow down. We've seen these kind of gaps bridged before. I remember Dave
57.
Chisnell once at the match play was massively behind against Michael Smith, and he bridged that.
Well, it'd take a couple of things to happen, wouldn't it? It'd take Clemens to up his level
100.
by a couple of gears and Van Duijvenbode to drop his by the same. And still, he's probably going to have to rely on missed darts for the match in
85.
several legs.
When someone is 5-0 up in a best of 11 match, we always say, you're not across the line yet. But this is very, very
140.
different. He's a maximum away from a tournament-winning double. Clemens does the right thing on 299,
99.
but can't get to a finish, so it is 6 darts from here.
And Clemens might well have a look over his shoulder again and see where that door is, because he'll be running out of it any second.
140.
I think that's had something to do with this.
I don't know. It kind of happened before the game started, didn't it? I think Dirk van Duijvenbode's incredible performance has had a
96.
lot more to do with it. And this could be it. A whitewash in a final. Rarely see that in a Pro Tour final. But double 18
58.
almost did it. Will Clemens just spare some blushes here?
I think if he finds this, there will be a wipe of the brow. Double top.
84.
Just not meant to be. And Dirk now has a little bit of a breather and a choice as to whether he goes for double 9 or splits it to win this tournament to nil in the final.
Double 4 in the end. And it
Goes around
is
the match.
Dirk destruction as Van Duijvenbode crushes Clemens. An 8-0 whitewash win in the final to double his title tally for 2022 and leave the German giant still without a title. 6 finals, 60 feats. He's 8 legs in that final and he lost them all. But it was a brilliant performance from that man, Dirk van Duijvenbode. Boy, can DVD play. There you see the tail of it. 4 breaks of throw in it. Of course, winning every single leg, including another ton-topping checkout. 1-2-2 in that one. 8 out of 13 on the doubles. Just 5 darts at double for Gabriel Clemens in that match.